Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Star Flames and we're back with another banging video. In this video guys, we are gonna talk about DDG basically trying to trick Halle Bailey, or at least that's what I believe. Let's talk about it, shall we? Because as you guys know, and as I've shared with you guys, DDG and Halle, they had mediation, I believe that was last Friday, with another schedule for the 20th, which is 5 days from today. Now, I also shared with you guys that Halle gets to maintain sole custody of Halo, and DDG was granted visitation rights. Now, I believe that DDG has been, before the mediation date, what I observe is that DDG, he would, be kind of soft when he's in the eyes of the public towards Halle and Halo. That was like a few days before, because if you guys can remember, in one clip that I had shared with you guys, he was basically, taking out some baby clothes out of a bag, and he was showing them to India Love. India Love had a little smirk on her face because she was like, what is that? A carefully orchestrated moment. And he was like, these are some clothes for my son. He lives in LA and stuff. So he's basically saying that he has to buy his son really nice things because, LA is known to be a prominent area that is filled with celebrities, and anywhere you find a very good amount of celebrities, that a lot of brands are going to come into play, and everyone and their mama will be dressed in their best designers. So I believe that what DDD did in that moment was basically to say that he is an amazing father because he knows that the internet pays a lot of attention to these things. And because he knows that in the initial court documents that Halle had filed, she basically mentioned that he had only bought Halo one thing. So he wanted to make a comeback from that, knowing that the court date was just around the corner. And as such, he was using that moment to, kind of appear to be kind and be, understanding, and is meeting Halle halfway when it comes to Halo and them co-parenting together. But also, what did we observe after that mediation session? We did observe DDG shading Halle, that moment in his car with his mom when he skipped the song. He was playing the song. He knew what song was being played the moment it came on, but he intentionally waited until it got to Halle's name before switching it over. So the moment that the mediation ended and things was not going in his favor, he was bitter and angry towards her again. And you can really tell that DDG is not accustomed to not having his way, and as such, whenever he's put in the position of not getting what he wants, he will throw a tantrum, and that tantrum can be a very big one or a small one. But I believe that what we're going to see going forward is that if he really truly does get to have his way at the end of the day, I believe that he may go out on a limb to truly ruin Halle, because already whenever he doesn't get to have his way, you have his brother, Dub coming out to say, you know what, I don't really miss a lot of people, but I miss Halo. But the internet realized what he was doing, and the internet was not having it with him, because they're saying, we have seen you on camera being so harsh and brutal to your son. How is it that you're going to come out publicly and now say that you miss Halo after you guys have basically shaded her mom, make fun of her, and literally bully her on the internet? You want us to believe that you actually missed a child. But we know the moment that DDG's brother mentioned Halo, it was all a moment of using Halle and her child for clout, relevance, and attention. And I did say to you guys that he and his family, they were doing it and they're going to keep doing it. Well, now I believe that based on what I've observed days before the mediation, you can definitely see where he was acting as though, okay, I'm this doubting father. I do what needs to be done. And, he was like, he made a little joke about his son on one of his live stream, basically. If you guys can remember, I think it was when they were on that yacht having that week marathon event. But I know for a fact that it was after things ended with Halle publicly. He basically says, you know what? I need to be really careful I think he says that he needs to be careful with marine life because his son is related to them. And you know that if he talks about his son being related to marine life, you know he's talking about Halle being the little mermaid. I think the joke was hella funny though. I think it was very funny. I think it was very cute and a very harmless moment. But I'm just mentioning that to say you can literally see where he was kind of warm, kind of kind towards Halle. But the moment that he didn't get to have his way, he was throwing hella shades, hella subliminal jabs here and there at her. So now I'm wondering if when it comes, come the 20th, if he doesn't get to have his way, what are we going to see coming from him and his family members on the internet? Are they going to go all out on Halle? Are they going to use their little friends and their little bots behind the scenes to make up false stories about her? Because I've come across a little discussion. It wasn't a major one on Twitter. And it is said that that is literally what they're planning on doing. And they're saying specifically DDG because they believe he should be able to have his child on live stream. And they are alleging that if he doesn't get to have his way, he's gonna smear Halle's image and reputation. But the question is, will he be successful in doing so? Absolutely not. And honestly, I do see DDG as a person who is somewhat bitter, but I really cannot see him going out on a smear campaign against Halle. I can see him throwing a little subliminal jabs here and there, throwing his little sassy ass shades, because we've seen that, right? He may throw a little shade at her here and there, but I honestly cannot see him going out on a limb to create a smear campaign, against her. I really cannot see that, but I do believe he's going to go off and he's going to throw some tantrums here and there. But that's just my 2 cents on that, guys. Let me know what's your take. While you're at it, do all you need to on this video to support your girl. Peace.